From there on, it had changed my life, my family life, and up to this day, I struggle to continue my life without him. But it's different now because I'm the same person. I'm his mother, and I'll always be, and I'm proud to be his mom, even though he's. But my life is not the same, and my family life is not the same. You know, it has changed us dramatically from that tragic.
I think even now, still to this day, it impacts my family negatively. My grandmother is the one now who I have to take care of, and she is my responsibility because her daughter is not here anymore to ensure that she is well taken care of and that her needs are met. My mom was my grandmother's firstborn child, and so financially it's like I'm responsible for my grandmother, and I feel that it's my obligation, and I have to do it because my mother is not here to do it. So the responsibilities that my mother had, I feel they were bestowed upon me as a result of her death. Because each member of the family has such an important and distinct role that when it's taken away, it's really hard to put the pieces back together.
This man snapped. He's like, you know what the worst weapon is in the world? And he's like, what? It's like your tongue. He's like, okay. He's like, no, for real. Your tongue is your worst weapon. And he's like, okay. It's true though. Because the things like some of the stuff my grandma said, I know she doesn't mean it, but gosh.
It hurts.
Gosh.
And that's another example of family putting like pressure on you and making the situation worse.
You'd think your family would be there for you all the time, you know, because you're family. But sometimes they're the ones that make things worse. It's like, I don't know how to explain it properly, but I know what I mean.
It's like, family would be like, okay, whenever you need me, I'll be there, you know? But when you really need them, they're nowhere to be found sometimes, you know? And you have nobody to talk to. It's the same with friends. When your close friends tell you, you know, whenever you need me, call me or something, and you trust them, and then when you really need them, they're not there.
When they were actually taking my father's body out at the house, I remember at one point, all my brothers and my mother, we just did a group hug, and it was like everybody sobbed. And that's the only time that I saw my brothers cry. But we cried together, and we actually made noise when we cried. It wasn't just tears, it was actually like deep, you know, when you sob and stuff. It's funny, it's hard to even make eye contact when I talk about this. I feel so certain. Yeah, this is, it's difficult. I don't know whether I feel like I'm not entitled to be doing this, or I don't know. With friends and family, to a certain extent, and it's just sort of like going over the memories, you know, or now they'll say, you know, like I do something and be like, oh, that's a Bradley. That's a Bradley moment, you know? And it's nice to have that, just somebody that knows and, you know, knows the perks and stuff, right, you know? Bradley's Lost Tours of Toronto sort of thing, you know, it's sort of like everybody knows the in-joke because he was always lost. And so am I. So it's like that kind of support, more just family and friends, but no formal, no other service, nothing else, actually.
I don't know about you, but I take it differently. When I hear stories and stuff like that, I just think about like the stuff that I'm missing. Knowing that she's not here, like, oh, she used to do this, she used to do that. I've never witnessed it. I don't know. They could even be lying to me, but just, you know, it
causes more thinking.
And being the youngest in the family, I feel like I have the most responsibility. I'm responsible for everyone in the family, i.e. my brother and my grandmother, just because they weren't able to move through their grieving process, I feel, in a manner that enabled them to really heal in a way where they can move forward.
The rest of my family, it brought us really close together at the time of his death. And then after that, I feel like it's been a shattering. One brother was sort of raging. And me, I was just exhausted. And that's what I feel. I've just sort of numbed out to a certain extent. And another brother was sort of the spiritual connection. And he kind of held us together and has tried to. And my mom has also to a certain extent. But I feel like the family is really, it's been really impacted. And a lot of it is because we don't talk. We don't talk.
Different people take it different ways. Like with me and my sister here, it's different. It's the same thing we're going through, but it's a lot different. Like, she's more willing.
Emotional.
Yeah, she's more willing and like to talk about stuff, whereas me, I just don't want to hear it.
It's been huge for my mother. Because they were married, I don't know, 60 years or something like that. So it's been huge. But my mom is she's very strong and very dignified. And a lot of her grief is by herself. I'm actually the only one that she really sort of cries with. And that's because I provoke it. I go over and put on the old tunes that they used to sing to. And we dance around and we sing and we cry. Or we listen to old hymns that she and my dad used to sing and stuff like that. Because they'd sit around and they'd sing. Because my mom is legally blind, right? And so she misses him a lot. And that was her life partner. And that's the only person, that she knows.
And then I seen how the impact of the loss of my parents had on my brother. So for me, it was like I felt I had to bring meaning to my life, meaning to the things that I was doing at such a young age. So I had to work. I had to be this super great student. I had to excel. I couldn't mess up because I would be putting my parents' name to shame. And then my brother, it was like it affected him differently. He just took a different route. He became very introverted, and he got caught up into the wrong crowd. And I feel like it's because we didn't have the space to grieve fully as a family. There were organizations that came in to try and take my brother and I away from my grandmother. That compounded our grieving process. And the fact that we had to survive. It's like no one respected the fact that we had a major loss. Me and my brother had a major loss. The family had a major loss. And they just didn't let us grieve. They just didn't let us do what we had to do. It's like we immediately had to go into this survival mode. And so I think that is distinct within the Black community.